Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight. Our third epic podcast tonight. We're delighted to be in the company of Glenavon goalkeeper Jonny Tuffey, former Partick Thistle, Inverness, and of course Northern Ireland international. So we're looking forward to catching up with Jonny tonight about Jonny's career to date and where he is and what future holds in the game for Jonny. And I just thank you once again, our friends in the longest 40 tonight, who have through their software allowed tonight to happen. Without them, it simply wouldn't be viable. So we thank John and the guys and the continual relationship that we have with the boys in Edinburgh and Glasgow. And in a short time, John will be bouncing on. Can I continue to keep urging you guys to ping your questions across? We will do our utmost. I'm expecting a busy schedule tonight, but we will do our utmost to read every question out. And if not, please forgive me. But no, I just want to say as well, over the last 48 hours, we've been receiving a lot of good feedback in terms of from the podcasts have begun. Without you guys, you know what I mean, engaging, and it's set up simply just to bring personalities in, to get to know them a little bit away from probably the pitch side, to get a little bit close and personal with them, and just for a wee bit of fun and a wee bit of lighthearted banter. So if there's anyone in particular that you would like us to potentially bring on to the podcast, by all means, email me, Brian, or even just send me a private message. I'd be more than happy to hear from you. So, as I said, thank you again for joining, and Jonny will be joining us in a few seconds. And there he is, the man himself. Jonny, how are we? All right, mate?
Evening, mate. How are you?
Not bad. You, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good. How are you finding lockdown, mate? Like the rest of us, challenging?
Yeah, it has been, mate. Obviously, I'm very fortunate that Danielle's here as well with me, and we've been having a wee man, a week at a time as well. So, football crazy house. So, obviously, it's been a bit easier, someone to kick a ball about with and do a bit of training and stuff with as well. So, it hasn't been too bad, but you have your moments, and the odd day you have a wee bit of a wobble, and it's slightly more challenging than others. But look, we're fortunate at the end of the day. It's a serious time, and there's people an awful lot worse off, and there's serious repercussions of this terrible virus that's going about, and we've got to be very grateful and thankful for our health and where we are.
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. I think we've all reflected over the last number of weeks in terms of just what's important, mate. We all love football, we all love sport, and yes, we all miss it on our TV screen, but certainly without doubt, there's a lot more important things going on. JT, so obviously we go back a long way, you know what I mean, a long way. We're good friends, and I followed your career with a very close lens. So it's absolutely fantastic to have you on the podcast tonight, mate. And I know there's a lot of questions peeping into my phone here already. So it's really, I appreciate your time tonight, mate.
No, thank you for having me, mate. It's great to be here.
Yeah. As I said, I was just thanking the guys who obviously it's being streamed live in Glasgow and Edinburgh as well, and you experienced a few years up there as well, which we'll get to in good time. But so obviously, young kids, 16 years of age, Coventry come knocking. What was that like for a 16-year-old Jonny Tuffey leaving Northern Ireland, small town like Banbridge, and going to the West Midlands?
Initially, for me, Brian, it was sheer excitement. The opportunity of going into a club like Coventry, having been over a few times and seeing the setup they had, the facilities in terms of what they provided for all the apprentices and the young pros. You've been it right in yourself many a time, and how it's developed over the years, but right back then when I first went, even the fact of having the Sky Blue Lodge where all the apprentices live together, having that company and the other lads around you, 24/7. Roy and Marie that used to look after us as well, were fantastic. It was almost like home from home. They seen you almost like their own kids. How well they looked after you and treated you. The staff at the club as well, from top to bottom were fantastic. But to be honest, a little bit daunting when you get there, and all of a sudden, being an only child, being away from mum and dad, that reality sort of set in very quickly, and there was challenging times. But just the buzz of being around football, being around everyone that had that enthusiasm, that want to try and become a professional footballer, and trying to develop and learn every day. It was it was really exciting first and foremost. Yes, there was obviously challenges along the way. It wasn't always plain sailing. It wasn't always easy as a lot of people think. But nothing but fabulous memories from day dot at Coventry.
Yeah. Just on the Cov one, with Kev Monks has just texted in here. Jonny, you were the right player for Coventry City, but at the wrong time. How do you feel about your time actually at Cov from a football perspective?
It's actually a good one, Brian, because opportunities were limited. We had quite a few changes in manager at the time when I eventually did sort of break into more the first team squad. Training with the first team every day, traveling with the first team, in and around the squad, on the bench. Obviously didn't play a lot in the first team. But I look back on it as a great education in the game. Some of the players that were around the club at the time, experienced players, had played in the Premier League for years. And it was massive learning curve. All the little things that you try and implement, and you take bits and pieces from everyone, and you try and use them, throughout your career to try and mould and shape your career. So from that point of view, it was fantastic. It was a great education. Potentially, had I been, a little bit older going to Coventry and had an experience of first team football somewhere before that, then potentially, there could have been more opportunities for me to play in the first team. But as I say, I look back with nothing but fond memories of Coventry, and very grateful for the opportunity it gave me in the game, and the education and the ground and it gave me in football, and how much to respect the game.
Yeah, and ultimately, Tuffs, you know what I mean, when you're at Cov, you're learning, you're developing, and ultimately it was in that development that then seeing you move up to Scotland. Partick, great opportunity came, and you didn't only go to Partick to sit in the bench, mate. You went to Partick to go and take the shirt of a very experienced goalkeeper in Kenny Arthur. And speaking to various Partick fans over the last number of years, due to the industry that we're in, Jonny Tuffey is a very, very much a fan's favourite at Fairhill, mate.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, Brian, I went there, with the mentality of, I'd left Coventry. I'd sort of flirted with the first team, if you like, for want of a better word. And when I left Coventry and went to Partick, I knew I faced the challenge to get first and foremost into the team. As you say, Kenny was a stalwart there. He's a good friend, and he was held in the highest regard with the Partick fans. And that initial challenge was hard, but once I get over that and I got in the team, I sort of flourished because I almost had that fear in the back of my head that I didn't want to go back to being on the bench again. I didn't want to be training all week, not to have that buzz of come 1:30 on a Saturday, sitting in the dressing room, knowing that your name was number one on the team sheet and you were preparing to play. So it was fantastic. A really, really good again at Partick, really family orientated club. Dick Campbell was the manager that signed me. Eventually broke into the team under Dick, and played consistently then for about 4.5 seasons. Dick moved on. The second season I was there, Ian McCall came in. And that was actually another challenge because Ian had brought his own goalkeeper with him, Craig Hinchcliffe, who was dual role of goalkeeper and goalkeeping coach. So it was another battle. They obviously win Ian McCall over, and to prove that I was good enough to, in his for him and in his eyes, to stay in the team and to continue playing. And those challenges were constant, but they were enjoyable challenges, and ones that I think helped molded me and shaped me into becoming a better player.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Obviously, Tuffs in terms of the level of professionalism that that you carry both on the pitch, off the pitch. It's intense. That's the only way that I could describe it. I've seen it up close, and the journey that you had at Partick, no doubt about it. You know what I mean? 110 appearances, which ultimately came in tandem with obviously being called into the Northern Ireland squad. But before we go down the route of the international level, just yet, Gary Nicholas texts in, is there any truth, Jonny, that Rangers were potentially looking at signing you during your time at Partick?
There was there was lots of sort of press coverage and rumours about it. There was some dialogue between Rangers and Partick, but it didn't really come to fruition, and nothing concrete came of it. But there was a lot of rumours in the press and stuff, and there was a little bit of contact between the clubs. But as I say, nothing concrete came of it, and it was business as usual and carried on at Partick.
Yeah, and not enough when you're obviously in the heights at the level that you obviously were at Partick, and getting good plaudits week after week. The reality is you're going to be obviously linked with this club and that club. So, but certainly, from a Partick Thistle point of view, you have no doubt about it that when you decided to obviously leave for footballing reasons, there was a lot of disappointed Partick fans. But I think looking back on that, Jonny, again, I think in life we all look back on things, and I think we all learn from the seasons, and big decisions obviously I think almost make us in life. But Northern Ireland international caps came when you were at Partick, and knowing you as I do, and pulling on the green jersey, just I know how much that meant to you, and being involved and in around the international scene.
Yeah, it was. It's every young kid's dream. Male or female footballers, whatever sport. The ultimate goal is to represent your country at any level. And ultimately you want to try and get to the highest level. And I was very fortunate. And a lot of thanks go to Mr. Worthington for that opportunity of playing for Northern Ireland. It was actually funny because when I first got word about being called into the squad, I thought it was a wind up. We'd actually just got on the bus to go and play Dundee away with Partick, and the secretary came up the bus and handed me a letter. And I've read the letter, and I've actually put it back in the envelope and threw it in my bag. I said to one of the lads, I was like, somebody's at the flipping wind up here. I said, one of you lads are flipping at it. Because there'd been a little bit of talk about it as well, about me being called into the squad, and I actually didn't think anything of it. I was like, flip, I'm playing up in Scotland in the first division here. At the time, I felt a million miles away from it. So went and played the game against Dundee, and I think it was the following day. I got a phone call in from David Curry, who, the administrator. He looks after everything with the IFA and the international squad, and he phoned me, and I knew David from the time, with the underage groups and the 21s, and he says, "Did you get your letter?" And I said, "Yeah, I got it last night. I threw it in my kit bag. I thought it was a wind up, but lo and behold, as they say, the rest history then into the squad, and unbelievable, then to go in amongst the calibre of players in the Northern Ireland squad at that time. You're talking about seasoned Premier League players, and that experience was unbelievable, to travel the world, and some of the teams we played against, even just to go to the countries to sample their lifestyle, their food, their culture, how they do things. It was unbelievable, and memories that I'll have forever.
Yeah. Kelly Thistle fan is texting Tuffs at the minute. He says, "Jonny, I always thought you were very much underused at Thistle. I'm very sorry to see that you didn't play many games." So.
Yeah, it was a frustrating time. I went up there, and a beautiful part of the world up in the Highlands. Fantastic club as well. To be honest, really good. Made a lot of good friends up there. But the lack of first team football was frustrating, and anyone will tell you, Brian, it's you train all week, you travel the country, and because we were so far away, when you're playing away from home, it was away on a Friday morning from maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock into training, lunch, then you're travelling down to Glasgow or Edinburgh. You're not home on a Saturday night again then to 9, 10, 11 o'clock, and when you're doing all that, it's fine when you're playing. It doesn't phase you, but when you're not playing and you're doing all that, it does get frustrating and it gets hard. But again, fantastic club and fantastic people.
Good. Gary Wilkinson, how you doing? Thanks for your text tonight. Appreciate you coming in tonight. Having played professionally in the mainland, Jonny, how important do you think it is now for a young kid to get experience in the Irish League first? We're seeing that obviously over the last probably few years more now. Obviously, Mark Sykes, obviously Gavin White, maybe Stuart Dallas, obviously as well. You know, he set that bar, coming in the Irish League, getting experience, and then going as opposed to obviously going at 16.
Yeah, and this is a thing that's been brought up quite a lot recently, and talked about and debated. And as you said there, you know, it's probably in terms of the Mark Sykes, the Gavin Whites, the Bobby Burnses as well, going a little bit older and having that experience. And I think the biggest thing is, Brian, with when you've played in the Irish League, you know what it's like. Come 3 o'clock on a Saturday, or if it's 7:30 on a Tuesday night, you know the importance of winning football matches. You know what it means to get those 3 points. And then you also know what it's like to lose a game. You know, you look a lot at academy football, development football. It's not overly competitive in terms of winning leagues or winning trophies. You know, over the years, yes, they've developed that, but a long time ago, it was all about development football, teaching people the game. You know, how a lot of coaches and managers think the game should be played. Whereas, when you're in a competitive league like the Irish League, come 3 o'clock on a Saturday, it's 3 points is all that matters. We all want to play the beautiful game. We want to play football the right way, as people talk about. But, you would take getting absolutely battered for 89 minutes and you nick one in the 90th and win a game 1-0. 3 points on the board's the most important thing. Cup competitions, it doesn't matter how well you play at the end of the day, as long as you get into the next round. So, no, definitely. I think now, particularly as well because of the finances in the game, and you look at the top clubs, they can go out and pluck, kids or players from anywhere in the world, and they can pay extortionate amounts of money. So I think having that experience is vital, and it certainly helps. And in terms of young Gavin White, you look how well Gavin's done. He's went to Oxford, absolutely flying for a season and a half, and he's next thing you know, he's a £1 million player, £2 million player, on his way to Cardiff, and by all accounts, absolutely flying there. And wouldn't be surprised to see him get another move, to the Premier League.
Yeah, no, very good. Just before we take this question from Rob Preachy, Rob, thanks for texting in. But Jack Mahaffey has texted in, tough to say, whilst at Linfield, you were his favourite player, and he remembers waiting out the back of the South Stand after losing to Crusaders on a penalties in the Cup for a photo. And you're one of very few Linfield players that actually stayed behind and actually took a photo. So Jackson wants you to be aware of that. Rob Preachy, thank you for texting in. Did the Irish League surprise you, Jonny? And did it take you long to adapt when you came back to obviously play for the Blues?
Good question. I'd always kept an eye on the Irish League, and you always looked at results and you've seen games, obviously, on the websites and online and stuff. And I wouldn't overly say it surprised me, but it did take me quite a while to adapt. And it was more the adapting took more time in terms of everything was flipped upside down. I'd went from training in the morning and afternoon, being up, your whole life was football. You were up in the morning, into the club, breakfast, train, lunch, gym. Whereas, when I came back, it was up in the morning, maybe go to the gym, or you're sitting about, you're waiting until 6 o'clock at night to go and train. And that was complete opposite to what I'd been used to. Even then, it gave me a lot more time to spend with my son and stuff at home and whatnot. But it really did take time to adapt. And it's funny, I actually remember having the conversation with Ivan Sproul as well when Ivan came back and signed at the Blues. We sat one night and had a coffee and had that conversation. And Ivan was exactly the same. Everything goes completely the opposite to what you'd been used to for so many years. So from that side of it, yeah, it certainly took a bit of a time to adapt. And the Irish League was, it's really direct. Teams it's hell for leather. It's front to back, and now the game's developed again in the last couple of years. A lot of teams are now playing, and it's a lot more possession based. But when I first came back, it was 100 mile an hour. It was like, wow, flip, here we go. Welcome home, welcome to the big boys league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And obviously, Tuffey spent obviously time at Linfield, but it seems, from the outside looking in, you moved to Glenavon, and it just seemed to have been a perfect fit from you've landed at Mornview. You know, they've seemed to be a perfect fit for you. You seem to be a perfect fit for them. You've achieved great success there. You're captain there. I've seen you many times, and you're consistent in your performances. And I know, obviously, you know, Gary speaks very highly of you, and you know, quite rightly so. You know, in terms of, for me, you are the best keeper in the league, and you know what I mean. But the levels that you attain to, you know what I mean, is a testimony to you.
Cheers, mate. No, listen, you know, a lot of credit goes to Gary and Paul Miller. You know, my time at Linfield obviously wasn't as successful as, you know, I would have liked it to be. You know, and they took a chance on me. They brought me to the club. And, you know, it's went really, really well. I've got to give Reggie Hillen a special mention. You know, Reggie worked tirelessly with me when I first signed. You know, a lot of things he had picked up on, and we worked hard on them. You know, a lot of hours from him put in on the training ground, and it got me back to where I needed to be mentally and physically. And, you know, as you say, it's clicked really well. And I suppose consistency comes with age as well. As you know, as you get older, more experienced, you see things slightly different in the game, and you learn to cope with them a lot better and a lot quicker. So, you know, it's been great, and it's been a really enjoyable 4 years.
Good. Rob is texting, Johnny, who is the best striker in the Irish League, or the striker that has given you the most headaches?
Oh, flip me, there's quite a few. I would say, you know, out and out goal scorer and finishing. You're talking about Joe Gormley. You know, he's just a natural born goal scorer. You know, the personal battles as well I've had with Big Jordan Owens over the years. You know, you see a ball coming in the 6-yard box, and you know you can just hear and feel Big Jordan coming, and you know what's coming. So, you know, there's been a few interesting battles over the years with them. You know, and even since I've moved to Glenavon, playing against the likes of Andy Waterworth, you know, I knew how good Andy was from the time at Linfield with him. But you know, when you play against him, another one that's done it year in, year out, scores goals, and you know, his record at Linfield is something you know, to be very proud of, and you know, he's top lad.
Mm-hmm. Tuff, you've played in England, you've played in Scotland, you've played for your country. For you, who Dave Watson is texting, the most talented player that you've played with to date in your career?
Decent question, Watson.
There's been a few, to be fair.
There has, mate. To be honest with you, the one that always stands out for me, and you know, he's a friend as well, but his level of dedication, his professionalism, but it's also how humble he is with all the success he's achieved, and that would be Stephen Davis. You know, he's the complete player for me. He's got everything. You know, for years I think he was so underrated. You know, and what he's achieved in his career is absolutely phenomenal. And you know, as I say, the best thing about Davo is, you know, is how humble he is with everything that he's gone on to achieve with Northern Ireland and at club level.
Yeah. JT William Steele is texting. Can you give superfan Ollie Steele a shout out, please? He's watching this live and is a huge JT fan.
Yeah. Hey Ollie, how are you, buddy? Hope you're keeping well. I hope you're doing plenty of training. I'm sure you got your dad tortured in the garden.
It's another one there, just on the Glenavon one as well, Johnny. Obviously, you know, going to where Glenavon are and what the heights that they've reached. Stevie Coulter's texted in, does Jonny Tuffey foresee himself remaining, obviously, to the end of his career at Glenavon? And what does life look like for Jonny Tuffey when he decides to, you know, stop playing? Is he going to, you know, stay in the game? Does coaching, does managing, is that something that ticks your box?
Yeah, well, look, I've a year left. I've a year left on my contract at the club. Obviously, this whole crisis we're in at the minute with COVID-19, you know, it's obviously put a halt to things at the minute. But you know, I've got a year left on my contract. What happens after that, you know, is ultimately up to the club first and foremost. You know, and then we'll sit down and speak and take it from there. But no, look, as I said, Glenavon's a fantastic club. They've been great for me. Thoroughly enjoying my time there, and when the time comes, then you know, I'll sit down with the manager and the chairman and have those conversations, and then I'll sit down with my family and have those conversations that I need to have with them. And looking further afield, after I retire, the end goal for me ultimately is to become a manager. That's the end goal. That's where I want to get to. I know I've got to earn my stripes first. I've got to put the hours in on the coaching pitch first and foremost. I've started doing some of my coaching badges, and been doing little bits and pieces of coaching. I was fortunate to do some goalkeeping coaching with Club NI under Jim Magilton. Michael Doherty got me involved in that. I was also part of Jim Magilton's under-21 staff as the goalkeeping coach, which was a great experience for me. And then I'm obviously coaching now as well with Crusader Strikers, with their senior ladies team. Obviously my fiance plays for them, so it's been great for me, obviously, to get involved in that side of it as well. To see the dedication of the girls, and we're talking about girls giving up 3-4 days of their week to come and train. They don't get paid a penny, but how well looked after they are by the club, and their dedication and sacrifice and their hunger for the game is, it's really encouraging, and it's been a great opportunity for me, obviously to start learning, to start implementing some of my coaching philosophies on them, and it's been thoroughly enjoyable so far.
Yeah, no, I certainly do wish you all the very best, Tuffs, if you do decide to go into the dugout in due course. Jeff McGee, thanks for texting in tonight. Hey, Johnny, it's actually Bailey here. What advice do you have for kids who want to be professional footballers like you?
I think the first and foremost, you gotta enjoy it. You've got to enjoy playing football. You got to enjoy the training. You got to enjoy the hard work. You got to make the sacrifices that are required to make it to the very, very top. And as I said earlier on, it's getting harder and harder now because clubs can go out and handpick who they want. They can pay whatever they want for the so-called best players around the world. But I think the biggest thing is it's sacrifice, and it's enjoying it. You've got to keep that fun element to it. You got to enjoy doing everything that's asked of you to become a professional footballer. And people say it's hard work to get there. It is, but it's equally as hard, if not harder, to stay there and then kick on again and keep progressing and keep learning. And the biggest thing that a lot of people forget is you got to listen to your coaches and do exactly what they ask you to the best of your ability. Yes, we all have different ideas and different things that we potentially like to do or think we should be doing, but at the end of the day, the manager's the one that picks the team. He's the one that has a philosophy and has a style of play, and you've got to try and stick to that to the best of your ability.
Okay, John Brown, thanks for texting in. What players in Scotland, Johnny, during your time in Scotland most impressed you?
Oh, very good question. I was lucky enough to play with a couple of them. Alan Archibald I played with at Partick Thistle. Alan was tremendous, ultimate professional, dedicated, hard as nails. Just a really good guy. Loved football. Loved Partick. Really, really experienced. So good with the younger players as well. He was absolutely fantastic. Another one, Gary Harkins, Dundee, and I played with. He was at Dundee for years. Played with him at Partick as well. Was a top pro. All the ability in the world. And then you look at the likes of the Rangers and Celtic players. I was very fortunate to play against a few times in cup competitions when I was at Partick, and then obviously moving to Inverness and St Johnstone in the Premier League, and Paddy McCourt, Lee Griffiths, Chris Boyd, Pedro Mendes, Steve Davis, Christian Daly. You could rattle off any number of players that have played up there for years. John Rankin was another one, a Dundee United legend, ultimate professional. Chris Miller I played with at Morton. I played with him at St Johnstone. We used to travel together. Another one, great lad, great footballer, appetite for the game, always wanting to learn. He was like a sponge, and fantastic career. Still going, 36, and looks like an 18-year-old. He's absolutely fantastic what he's achieved. Stephen Dobie was another one, top-class striker, played against him on many occasions. And, I could sit here, honestly, Brian, for hours and rattle off players that I've played against in Scotland. But, again, it's probably only starting to get the recognition it deserves over the last few years with the introduction of, of all the companies now broadcasting, more of the SPL games.
And you're saying there about the recognition. I think as well, Tuffs, the Irish League over the years, people don't really appreciate it, and it's very easy to, you hear there's a lack of quality. You know what I mean? The reality is, I look at it and I see the quality getting better and better and stronger year on year, where it's players coming back, the introduction of, better players coming into the league, obviously clubs going full time. What's your take on the level of the Irish League now compared to maybe when you first came back?
Oh, I think it's night and day, Brian. To be honest, I think the levels clubs are trying to go to now, as you said there, with implementing full-time structures. Coaches that are learning all the time. They're on their coaching courses, developing, and they're trying to implement different styles and different structures. They're developing their teams now to be able to play, 2-3 different formations. It's not just your bog standard one formation. It's black and white. It's this. It's very colourful now, and there's definitely a massive rise in quality, and I think the proof in the pudding is the amount of players now that are getting opportunities to move on from the league and go to clubs in Scotland and England.
Tony is texting, Glenavon fan said, Jonny, absolutely fantastic since you came home. We're very, very blessed to have you at our club. And I think it's 4 years to the day that Glenavon actually won the Irish Cup. So to keep the Glenavon fans happy, I have to shout out that. Obviously, a memorable day, no doubt, Jonny. Obviously, we're very fortunate, to win success during your time at Glenavon. Yeah,
definitely. And it was my first season as well. So it was unbelievable. The run we went on that season from, I think it was just after Christmas time, maybe a little bit later, maybe the end of January. We went on an unbelievable run. Even the semi-final against Crusaders, 4-3. It was, what a game. It was probably more entertaining for the fans than the final actually was. It was an absolute classic, and to go back to Windsor, my first season at Glenavon, and obviously win the Irish Cup was, it was fantastic. It was memorable and a day I thoroughly enjoyed.
Adam James, thanks for your text tonight. What has been your best season, Jonny, with any of your current or past clubs? Thank you for that,
Adam. It's hard to look past my first season at Glenavon. Things fell into place very, very quickly, very smoothly. It really did click, and as I say, to go on that season, we actually qualified for Europe automatically with our finish in the league, and then to win the Irish Cup. It really was a memorable season. But also my second season at Partick, I broke into the team in my first season halfway through it. Stayed in the team, and then the second season at Partick, we were desperately unlucky not to clinch promotion that season. We finished just behind St Johnson, so that was another memorable season that I look back on fondly.
Obviously, we talk football a lot, the two of us talks, but if Christian McCordick is texting, if Glenavon could sign one player, who would that be? I don't know if he just means in Ireland, North or South or England. Yeah, so no pressure on that one.
No, listen, it's a very good question, and I'll be honest with you, I think it's wrong of me to start singling out players. Look, Gary's got a terrific track record over the years of signing, good players at the right time, and I think you look this year again, we've added Colin Coates and Matthew Stuarty at the right time. Callum Burney, another one, experienced players, and you can see straight away the impact they've had, and it's been good. Born leaders, Coates, Stuarty, they've won numerous trophies. They know what it's about. They know what it's like to be up there with that pressure of having to win games, having to win leagues, having to win cups every year. So it's been great for our changing room, and I'm sure Gary's he's already on the ball with trying to add one or two more over the summer.
Jonny, obviously you moved away from 16-year-old to where we are now, and you look back in your career to date, who would you say that you have, who's been the most influential, to speak India, and who's that one person, or maybe people that you go to, before, after, during games? Who's that one person that you would, certainly, reflect back on to date?
As I touched on earlier, Brian, I'm very lucky that Danielle, plays football and loves the game, very much into it, so a lot of my conversations now about football and after games is, first and foremost with her, and we actually share a lot of the same ideas and philosophies on the game. So, a lot of my venting and questions would obviously go to Danielle, and we would talk a lot about the game, and outside of Danielle and my parents, the one person I always turn to and always would pick the phone up and speak to would be Big David Jeffrey. What David's given me over the last number of years it's phenomenal. It goes above and beyond football, and I'm very lucky to have someone like that I can speak to about anything, and have that frank and open and honest conversations with, and just to have him as a friend first and foremost is it's something I'm very, very thankful for.
Because I suppose as a footballer, Tuffs, when you're winning and quarter to 5 on a Saturday, you get 3 points, it's good. But probably from the fans looking in, we just don't really grasp when things don't go well. You probably linger over your weekend until you get back on the training pitch on a Tuesday. And I suppose it's very much a mental thing as a footballer of how you deal with that.
Yeah, definitely. And particularly from a goalkeeping point of view as well. If you've made a mistake or you've cost a goal or you've cost the team 3 points on a Saturday, then it does it does linger, and first and foremost, you want to get back on the training ground, you want to put it right, you want to get to the next game as quick as you can to put it right, to eradicate that mistake and to feel good again, basically. But I think again, Brian, that's another thing that comes with age and experience. You learn to deal with it, assess it, speak to the people you need to speak to, the people you trust, and you move on a lot quicker the older you get. But for younger players, it does seem to linger a little bit longer, and I think it's a reaction of others around you as well, Brian. Everyone hears the the grumblings around football when things aren't going well, but that's when you really rely on your own inner strength, your teammates, the staff at the club, your family, and the people you trust in the game.
Yeah, very much so. Glenn Emerson, thank you very much for texting tonight. Jonny, the game has changed so much over the last 10 years, meaning goalkeepers have had to adapt, becoming like sweepers, the 11th man. Would you say over the last number of years that you as a goalkeeper has had to change your game?
Yeah, definitely. The old stay in your box, stay in your line, catch it, kick it. It's sort of eradicated a wee bit from the game. As you say, you're more involved now. You look at how lots of teams want to build from the back. Goalkeepers have to be so comfortable with the ball at their feet. Teams play such a high line now. The goalkeepers they're almost like the old-fashioned sweeper, where you're a lot closer to your back four. I've had to learn and develop that, and and a lot of that also comes from confidence. Having the confidence to do it, the confidence in your own ability to be comfortable with the ball at your feet, and make good decisions, and your distribution has to be on point.
You must struggle obviously with your kicking, because it wouldn't be one of your strong points, obviously.
Yeah, believe it or not, and this, I had to work tirelessly at it
I tell you, I don't think I've yet to see anyone in the Irish League ping a ball like you, mate. Absolutely, it's easy on the eye, Just on something else, Jonny. Obviously, in terms of we all want to see football back on our screen and etc. In terms of yourself, obviously, what's your stance at the minute in terms of as a goalkeeper? I can understand players getting out and running, and but as a goalkeeper, I'm sure there's things you just can't do in this lockdown in terms of training. You can go out for a run, but in terms of agility as a goalkeeper, how do you work around that? Like, we've been off now, 5-6 weeks. How do you as a goalkeeper try to get yourself in the flexibility that whenever you're ready to go back, you're in decent sort of level of fitness?
No, you're quite right. There is certain drills you can do, on your own footwork drills. You can have the ball stationary where you're practicing your diving techniques and stuff, and obviously getting a bit of a blow on doing those. The good old fashioned one where you're just basically volleying a ball off the wall, reacting to where it goes, making saves. As I said, I'm fortunate. I'm in the position that Danielle loves football, and I've got someone that can serve for me. So it hasn't been too bad. But first and foremost, Brian, at the minute, yes, it's in the back of your head that we might get back to football. When, we don't know, and you want to be fit and ready for it. But the most important thing at the minute is you're training for your own sort of mental health as well. Keep yourself taking over to get out of the house, get some miles in the legs, and I think that's where everyone's at the minute, more than actual specific sports training. Because the most important thing is everyone's health. We can't rush back into football or into any sport or into any sort of normality, Brian, if it's going to put anyone's health at risk.
No, 100%. And just on that, I just want to continue to thank our frontline workers and all the staff of the NHS for what they continue to do. Absolutely incredible, and we continue to thank you for that. Look, JT, you've been absolutely fantastic tonight. I just want to thank everyone for texting in, and getting to know Jonny Tuffey, the person, as well as we all know what he is as a player. And I just want to thank you, JT, for coming on tonight. It's been great listening to you. You've been outstanding. And I wish you every success at Glenavon Football Club on the journey after whatever you decide to go into. So thank you very much indeed.
Brilliant, Brian. Thanks very much, mate.
Folks, thank you so much indeed for tonight. Can we just remind you again, we have Lee Clark on tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Lee, obviously, currently out of the game at the minute. Newcastle favourite, played for Sunderland as well. Lee will be joining us tomorrow. And with a certain Mr. Keith Gillespie on Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Prime time. So we're looking forward to that. So look, thank you so much indeed. Take care. God bless.